Stefano and welcome to Gardening on the Kaipara. My name's Howard and it's March. It's been beautiful so far. We had a bit of rain yesterday, which was welcome, but otherwise the weather's been absolutely fantastic. So for most of the start of this month, I've been shifting topsoil, trying to build up the beds, particularly the veggie pot, and so that's taken up most of my time, which means that I've kind of neglected to actually be planting things. So these tomatoes here have suffered a bit, needed to be potted on probably weeks ago and haven't been done. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to spend some time out in the garden weeding and getting things in. So let's see how we get on. So I finished doing the tomatoes and I've just put them here so that they're not in the polytunnel dying. Also in the red pot here, I've got some basil and I've just popped in 3 cucumber seeds to see if we can put any cucumbers on the table during the winter. Anyway, those are the tomatoes, all set to go. Okay, so I've actually spent most of the month shifting dirt one way or another, and what I actually need to do now is get stuff into the ground. I need to get things planted, particularly seeds. So I'm going to start off doing carrots and parsnip. I'm going to put them into the carrot bed. The first 3 rows are already doing really well. What I'm going to do is another 3 rows of carrots and a couple of rows of parsnip just at the end. Right, so I'm going to be planting some broccoli, and down the sides of the big beds I'm going to put some more carrots and more parsnip, just as kind of secondary backups. The soil there's not going to be as good, so I don't expect the carrots to be as good either, but I figured why not, better than having empty space, isn't it? I'm also going to plant some things into what will be the 3rd strawberry bed. What I'm thinking is that actually the strawberry runners won't be ready to go out till maybe late winter, early spring, which means that bed will be stood empty for a few months. So I thought I'd pop some quick growing crops in there, maybe some spinach and some radish and maybe some silver beet, I don't know, but we'll see. So let's get into that. Okay, so here we go. The carrot that I'm putting in here is every season, and the parsnip super snip. I think you can see that the carrots I did a while back really doing pretty nicely. And there we go, job done. Okay, what we're going to do now is just plant out the broccoli. I'm going to put 5 across here, and I've already got the next lot of seeds going for succession planting, which, if you know me, is unheard of. But I've got the broccoli and the cabbage already online for the following month. So the idea is that I'll put 5 here, then 5 and 5 and 5, and that will hopefully see us through most of the winter. On a bit of a gap at the edges here, because this is where I'm going to put the carrots and the parsnip down the edges here. Yes, I think that's about right. Actually, I've got 2 in here. They split apart. What's that? That's it then. Okay, so broccoli in, and I'm just going to do a thin strip of compost down either side now, put some carrots and parsnips in. Okay, so first sowing of cabbages is in. They look really good, those. You could almost think they've been bought from a shop. Okay, so we're off on a little adventure this morning, bright and early. It's a beautiful morning, and we're heading out. go, Fano. There's the end of March. Time for the plot tour. The weather over the last month has been absolutely fantastic. Beautiful sunshine all the time. We've had quite a bit of rain in the last 48 hours, probably about 8 inches of rain in the trailer when I emptied it out this morning, which was really needed. Tanks needed a bit of filling up. So it's looking quite wet out there at the moment. But overall, I'm really pleased with the progress that's been made. So I'll take you for a quick plot tour around. So taking a quick look around, hopefully you can see that the plot's looking pretty tidy at the moment. I'm feeling pretty pleased with the progress being made. I'll take you just around. I think this month I'll start the other way around and start with the cut flower beds, which are beginning to go over. The pineapples are still doing really well, and the rhubarb has taken. So if you remember, I split some of the rhubarb off, planted it next to it, and you can see that's really doing quite well. And I'm hopeful that we'll get a bit of rhubarb this autumn. Moving around to the beds, I'll go this way, so hopefully you don't get the shadow of me in the shots. So what we have here is the broccoli in. I've done 5 along here, but we'll probably go down to 4, as it's easier to keep them in the middle. They have been hit a bit with the cabbage white butterfly, which has been laying their eggs on, and I've not been able to get out over the last 48 hours with the rain. And so you can see that they've got a bit of munching going on. Hopefully they'll pick back up from that. Down each side I've got a row of carrots on the right hand side here and beetroot on the left hand side, and you can just see they're beginning to come out. We come down here. No, I can't. Just beginning to emerge. Otherwise, peppers still struggling on. Still some more little peppers coming. Don't know if they're going to do anything. The lettuce I'm using as cut and come again. Just taking the outer leaves all the time. These courgettes have just kept on giving and giving. We are having probably 3 or 4 courgettes every week. Just keeping it going nicely. And then beyond that, the beetroot. This beetroot didn't feel like it was planted that long ago and has already just done so well. And if you can see into here, already forming really nice little beetroots there. Might thin these out a little bit more, I think. But yeah, really good. And then beyond that, the new attempt to grow peas. And again, you can just see that they're beginning to emerge. Hopefully you can see that. And the new fence trellising that I'm trying with them this year. Beyond that is empty at the moment, but it's going to have leeks in. I've got the leeks thanks to a bit of a seed swap with my lovely neighbour Sally. She had a couple of Savoy cabbage and pak choy, I think it was, that she got from me, and in return I got some leeks and a watermelon. So win-win. This marigold's really coming into its own now. It's taken all summer to get going, but it's really beginning to look good now. And so up into the next one, you just see there the culprit right there. Look at it. That's what's causing everything to get munched. So the Cavalier Nero doing really well. It looks so healthy. We'll be having some of that probably tomorrow with the roast dinner for the first time ever. That'll be quite exciting. The pak choy ready for picking. I've got some more going in the polytunnel, which I'll show in a minute. But they are looking excellent. And then the silver beet, which we've started picking, not just for the chickens but for us. And then French beans, and again these are really beginning to come into their own now. I think I've had 1 picking off them, and we'll probably be having another picking tomorrow. See, it's all coming in now. Looking really good. Moving down, the courgettes think I mentioned last time that what we're doing with these is examining them every day, and any sign of powdery mildew, and we take that leaf off straight away, and that seems to have really helped to keep on top of it. And I think that's why we've been able to keep getting courgettes going through much longer than I thought we would. And this bed is going to have garlic in once I think that the courgettes have given up. There's still one more just showing in there, so not quite there yet. The onion bed is now planted out, so there's 60 onions in there, which is probably not enough. I'll probably need to do another bed, but I don't quite know where that's going to go at the moment. What I am pleased with is down the edges of here, of this bed, I'm going to be trying to grow chives, which we really like. And I've been just picking the flowers off the ones that I've got and just burying them into the ground as they were going into seed heads. And you can see that actually they're all beginning to come up. And so what I'm hoping is I'm going to have 2 strips of chives either side of the onion bed, which I think will look great. Up to the next bed. I think this gives a really good example of how the topsoil has worked. I've just put heaps in. Each of these big beds has had like 4 trailer loads of topsoil go into them, and then I've added on a bit of compost onto the top as well, and it's made such a difference just planting these things in. These are cabbages, Savoy cabbages. Again, you can see they're getting a little bit of munch on them from the cabbage white. Just got some derris dust on them for the time being. But yes, they've really taken off in the last couple of weeks. So very pleased with them. And again, down either side, I've put a sowing of beetroot and a sowing of carrots. So hopefully they'll do well. Now, if you remember from last time, I was wondering about whether to take these tomatoes out because of the blight or just to persevere with them. And as you can see, I persevered. The thinking being that a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. And I think that's been justified. We've had quite a few tomatoes off them, which is really good. I thought we were going to have a bit of a gap. And then behind them are the new tomatoes. These are all cherries, a mixture of red and yellow. And they all seem to be doing pretty well. Not quite sure when they'll fruit. Actually, I seem to remember the one on the end has already got some little ones showing at the bottom here. And so up to the next bed, and this is the broad bean bed, and these are looking fantastic. Very, very happy with these. I'm thinking I might need to put some kind of bamboo support construction in at some point, but at the moment I'm really pleased with how these are looking. That looks like a proper allotment, that does. Cool, blimey. Moving down to the asparagus, it's still going on, beginning to go over a bit, but still looking pretty good. And then the 2 strawberry beds, they've both been weeded now, and the far bed has been topped up with some topsoil. The bed here will be topped up, but I just wanted to give it a couple of weeks just to see if there was more weeds that was going to come out before I bury them over with the topsoil. I don't know if you can see, but we're actually getting a second flush unexpectedly of strawberries. Not a huge number, but enough to make it a pleasant surprise. And so to the last 2 beds of the veggie plot, and this one is going to be the 3rd strawberry bed, but I'm figuring that's not going to happen till the spring. In the meantime, I've put 3 rows of spinach along here, 2 rows of radish that you can see are just coming out, and then a couple of rows of spring onions. And over on this side I'll probably put some kind of lettuce, I think, but just some kind of quick crops. And I'm also going to cover them in the same way as the carrot bed, because these 2 beds are probably the most exposed and I figured that might give them a bit of protection. Carrot bed itself, the carrots that were done last month are progressing nicely. You can see, you put them through, you can see that they're all looking pretty good. On top of that though, I also have put in another 3 rows, and you can just see they're beginning to show. And then at the end, down here, I've put 2 rows of parsnips going crossways. Potatoes, toddling along quite nicely. We had a couple of buckets the other day when the family were up, and they were lovely. Probably a bit better in terms of quantity than maybe this time last year, so that's a slight improvement. Still not huge yields, so I'm in 2 minds about that, but definitely seems to be getting better at the potatoes. And this rose, this is Gertrude Jekyll, and has really appreciated a bit of TLC this summer. Had a lot of watering, put into a new pot, new compost, and it has been the best it's ever been. And I'm thinking I'll take some cuttings from this in next month and see if I can get some more, because it is an absolutely beautiful rose. You can see in the wheelbarrow there, that's how much rain we've had in the last 48 hours. Quite a bit. So looking down the veggie garden, I'm pretty pleased with the progress for this month. Not only did I get an awful lot of topsoil put up here, got a lot of things into the soil, which is one of those things that I kind of struggle with, just in terms of getting around to it when other jobs seem to take priority. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff into the ground, and I'm really pleased about that. Let's take you to the polytunnel, see what's going on there. Now, the polytunnel has been far too warm to have anything in it. It's basically dried out and killed everything. But it's just been that bit cooler for the last week or so, particularly the last couple of days with the rain. And so I brought some things in just so they didn't get drowned. And you can see things going pretty well. What we have here is some boiled cabbage and some coriander, some all year round lettuce, some other lettuce here, which I think is cos, more chives, bok choy, leeks that didn't come to anything from my end, and I think these are more broccoli. So you can see I've actually got some succession sowing going on, most of them like me. And then these are the tomatoes that we're going to try and grow in the polytunnel over the winter. Some sweet peas and some basil, which I'll probably thin out, put into more pots. And just some more broad beans for my neighbour. So yes, I'm very pleased with how the plot's looking at the moment. It's feeling quite tidy. Feels like there's a lot happening, a lot growing, and yeah, looking forward to the autumn now, see how I can do in terms of keeping food happening on the plate. So just a quick look at the roses at the front of the house. We've had a lovely second flush of flowers from them over the last month, and we're able to pick some and put them on the table, and they look very, very beautiful. Probably the last Cesar before we trim them back. And this is just a quick look at the next big project on the line. We're going to make this into a little private seating area. The table and chairs that you can see there, we got off Marketplace for $400, picked them up the other day. And in the background there, you can see the piles of topsoil. As you can see, still plenty left to be shifting. But yeah, this is probably the project for the next couple of months. A quick visit to the ladies. As you can see, they're all looking very, very well fed. They have had so much in the way of treats over the last wee while, with watermelon and pumpkins and all sorts of treats being brought by the neighbours as well. They're doing very well for themselves, and I think that shows. They look very, very well at the moment. Plum tree looking pretty good. Otherwise, the pear trees, the one on the right not so good, the one on the left probably a bit better. The Braeburn tree, only a few apples left on the Braeburn now, but we've had probably a month and a half of beautiful apple crumbles on a Sunday, which have been lovely. Otherwise, Things are beginning to wind down now. Leaves are beginning to get lost. Not sure about the fig tree. Let's go and have a look at that. So it's put on some good growth over the course of the summer, but I'm just noticing I think I can see one fig on the entire tree, not anything else, which means the birds have had all the others, which is quite funny. Didn't even realise that they were right. I think we need to do a bit more investigation into how to look after a fig tree. Clearly we need to do some work on that. Okay, so we're looking here just at the apricot tree, which I've not really had a close look at for a while. I was a bit worried about it for a while, but it seems to have done okay, and I think that the rain that we've just had is going to really help. Some really good growth on tops there. This is actually two varieties onto the one rootstock, and one of them is very strong, and the other one is really just got like one leader coming off it, which is only a few leaves. I'd like to see that looking a bit healthier. But it's definitely still got leaves that are looking healthy on it, so hopefully next year they'll start to improve. Otherwise, turning round to the other plum, this is the Louisa. This is my favourite variety of plum at the moment. I love this particular variety, and I've got high hopes for next year that we're going to get something really good. So there you go, Fano. I hope you enjoyed that little tiki tour of the plot. It's been a beautiful month. Don't know what April's going to bring for us. Sweet spring showers, as the song goes. But I'll be really grateful if you could join us again next month. Thank you if you watched last month's YouTube. For some reason that did particularly well. If you're one of the new subscribers, welcome. And thanks for signing on. And so until next time, I'll say Hare Ra, take care, and I'll see you again at the end of April. Bye bye.